We've brought our brand message and our promise to consumers to life across multiple different platforms and with multiple different executions of our campaign idea, which is a more enjoyable go. So we do that through things like traditional video advertising, but we've also brought that to life in different ways like utility. So our Sit or Squat app, bringing consumers a more enjoyable go when they're in a city and they may not know where the nearest clean restroom is. Charmin wants to be there, providing a better bathroom experience anytime someone is going to the bathroom. They will have been left with a great perception of Charmin as a brand because we brought them this valuable tool. We've also brought the idea of a better bathroom experience to locations where you don't think about there being a great bathroom. Bringing bathrooms to beaches. Our event called Don't Pee in the Sea. We brought our Charmin restrooms to the bathroom experience there, but then we also brought that digitally across the country through our Facebook, through our Twitter communication, so that consumers could, even if you weren't in Chicago at the beach where we brought the restrooms, you could watch where the restrooms were going as we were traveling across the country. You could vote for where you wanted to see the restrooms go next and come to a city near you. So through digital, we've been able to create a more engaging experience with our consumers. It's a brand that's done something else for me, and I feel a connection to and a reason to want to choose it over our competition.
Charmin is an example of a brand that built its success on traditional advertising and came up with iconic campaigns. And they've built on that and continued to grow while not dropping it in any sense. The brand continues to use traditional television, but has gone into several new channels and platforms with the evolution of technology and media. We understood that people are more open online, and people will talk about, potty culture or bathroom humor, and Charmin's a subset of that.
We use paid, owned, and earned media to reach our consumers with a message that will convince them to purchase our products. And each of those pieces plays a really important role. So paid media, that's traditional advertising as we think about it. So that's when we create a TV ad or we create a digital iMedia unit and we buy paid placement. The owned portion of our media is things that we, as Procter & Gamble, own and can update and have 100% control over. So owned media for us would include things like our website, things like our Facebook page, our e-content, our e-commerce pages. So that's where we can get in all of our claims, we can get in all of our benefit messaging because we have more space and more control over what that message is. And then finally, earned media is when we leverage influencers or consumers or celebrities to share a message about the brand and then share that out with their followers and the people that they have influence over. So this is not necessarily media that we pay for, but rather it's a message that we earn because Charmin as a brand has made its way into the mind of that influencer, and that influencer wants to share that message and deliver those impressions for us.
The transition is clear. If you're not there, you're nowhere. The world is moving digital. TV plays a very important role, but people are on digital. They're on their mobile phones, they're on their PCs, and you have to be there. There's a million different things popping up every day. So we as marketers are always trying to stay ahead of what is the right place and how do you make sure you don't just invest here because it seems to be the next big thing, but then it's gone tomorrow. And that is a challenge. But ultimately, what I try to do in my job in particular, in the market research world, is help us to identify where the consumer really is, and more importantly, where they want to have that conversation. We don't want to just put Charmin out there to put Charmin out there. We want to put Charmin out there in a way that really delights the consumer and engages the consumer in a way that they would expect to be engaged. This isn't a I want to force myself upon you type of game. We're fostering a relationship with the consumer. All the new tools and capabilities that exist in the marketplace are allowing us to engage with the consumers in ways TV never allowed us to. Considering traditional and digital and how they work together, I think the answer is they have to. You certainly don't want to show up to the consumer different in one versus the other. These things should work together. There's an amazing amount of cohesiveness. We definitely try to look at everything that we do is a holistic campaign that we offer up to the consumer.
We don't like to think about social media as this sliver of our communication that lives on its own, but rather we think about how can social media help amplify everything that we do. So we have internal team members to Procter & Gamble who lead our social media and our communications work on Twitter and Facebook. And those are the people that are, in the throes every day. They're going on Facebook, they're responding to consumer comments, they're searching Twitter and understanding, where there's a bathroom conversation happening, how can Charmin be part of that and how can Charmin play in that?
We invest a lot in consumer understanding. Ultimately, the research that we do depends on the question at hand or the problem that we're trying to solve. Most of the things that the consumer sees, we test pretty extensively and have certain metrics that we expect to see that we believe will lead to success in the marketplace. So we do a lot of pre-market testing on TV, we do some pre-market testing on our digital assets, and we do in-market tracking of TV and OLV and some media stuff, but new stuff is popping up every day.
We get back things like recall and brand linkage, the likability of the execution. Even when the executions are out in market, we're doing in-market real-time tracking to make sure that they're as strong as they can be.
It's really important to me as the leader that I set a tone and a culture and an expectation of collaboration and of teamwork and of fostering an environment where we all work together as one group working towards a common goal.
Advertising, I will say, is nothing like they portray in the movies. People don't just sit around and come up with brilliant ideas and everyone claps around the table.
To start with nothing and bring an idea to life from an advertising perspective, it gives you a charge.
We're all novices. We're all learning about data and analytics, search, e-commerce, all these other things together, and how to create work that really lives and translates holistically.
And not just today we're all novices, we're always novices because it's moving so much faster than we are.
Before you could be an advertising expert, now there's really no such thing. You have to keep up with the latest and greatest. You have to do your research.
Advertising is a process, and that process is constantly evolving. It's a really challenging but exciting time to be in advertising, and having those bears as vehicles allows us to say so much more and be so much more creative. You get all the poop jokes out right away, and then you get to work.